Johnny No Stars. Among other nonsense, on some lecture, LRH described how there's actually a working and a living civilization with trains and such hidden below the hostile and impenetrable clouds of Venus. Regarding Mars, he said all the bases are hidden behind force fields, so I guess you could use that as an excuse why there doesn't seem to be anything, even though its surface is pretty much all mapped by now. But he forgot to throw this in for Venus, and clearly stated the infrastructure is there, no force fields. But probes have landed in Venus too, and if I remember correctly, 99% of its surface has been mapped from the orbit. There were no trains. How would a current Scientologist explain this to himself and to others? Thank you for this question, Johnny. And the answer to your question is there could be any number of possible explanations, as unique as each individual, as to how they're going to settle the cognitive dissonance that your question brings up. How is it Hubbard could say this, and yet space probes have gone to Venus and have come back, and yeah, no, we got the whole surface mapped, and there's no civilization, there's none of that. Well, generally speaking, from my own experience and how I've seen others deal with this kind of thing, they're going to settle that by negating the science. They're going to say, well, yeah, but did they have, did they map the whole of the entire planet? Really? They've got everything down to the smallest detail. They got Google Maps for Venus? Really? So they're going to attack the premise first. They're going to go, well, I don't believe that the scientists really have it all fully mapped out. I don't believe that they really know everything you're claiming to me that they know. Because Hubbard said what he said, and what Hubbard said is generally true. In fact, it's always true. And if Hubbard said it, then it must be true. So your science guys just got it wrong. Prove to me they didn't. And now you, if you're an idiot, proceed to start arguing with that person about how it is that science got it all wrong. Because they're not gonna believe, right? You can always negate a positive claim. Well, this is the claim, X, Y, Z. No, I think there's some exception somewhere. You don't even have to dream up. I mean, if you're not a very good critical thinker, or you are motivated, you're engaging in motivated reasoning, right? You really need to believe this is true. Then it's easy to negate positive. Nah, I don't believe it. No way. And you really don't have to go a whole lot further than that. Because what you're doing is you're not. Maybe this might be a way of explaining this that I haven't used before. When you're engaged in motivated reasoning, when you have to believe that something is true, you're not really using rational thought or logic or reason to carry through the logic train to get you to the conclusion that you've already come to. If the conclusion's already there, you're not engaged in the logical process of proving the conclusion. You're moving backwards from the conclusion, and everything that supports the conclusion is valid, and everything that doesn't is invalid automatically, because the conclusion has to be true. That's the exact opposite of critical thinking. Critical thinking, scientific thinking, or reasoning involves here's fact A, here's fact B, here's fact C. What conclusion can we draw from these facts? Not knowing what the conclusion is. You don't have any preconceived idea. You just have these facts, and the facts are verified. It's evidentiary. It's, okay, here it is. A is true, B is true, and C is true. We verified independently that is the case. Therefore, D, right? But that's not what's going on in the head of Scientologists or any cult member. What's going on in their head is the conclusion is true. All the facts that support that conclusion are true because the conclusion is true, so therefore that fact must be true. And all the quote-unquote facts that you throw my way that don't support my conclusion can't be true. And that's as far as I have to think about it. And that's as far as such people will think about it. They won't think any more than that. So that's what you're dealing with